Good morning, folks. This is Vince, the Evil Dungeon Master, the Evil DM, back with another episode of the Evil Dungeon Master Universe podcast. Hopefully, you're doing well this morning, this afternoon, or this evening, whenever you're listening to this show. Today, I was looking through my books, trying to figure out a topic for today's show. And before we get into today's show, I want to thank everybody that's given positive feedback on YouTube since I've been uploading these podcasts. And as well here on Anchor, as the audience is slowly growing back, because I had this dormant for some time, and it didn't. It kind of, when you do that, you lose followers, you lose your audience size, and everything like that. But since I've been doing this back on a daily basis, it has been growing slowly again. So we're back up again with a bunch of users. I keep calling a bunch of audience listeners here on the podcast side. So I appreciate that. So if you want to go to Spotify, you can look up the Evil Dungeon Master Universe podcast. Hit a follow there. And if you have access to or listen to me on Apple Podcasts, head over to there and give me a review as well. Looking to get ratings and reviews. Written reviews are better, but ratings are just as good as well. Trying to pump that up because the more ratings, the better the podcast gets shown around with Apple and Spotify as well. I think Spotify has their own rating system, so if you can give a rating there or at least a review there, I'd be appreciated. On to today's topic. I'm looking at Conspiracy X Second Edition by Eden Studios. It is a really underutilized system, Eden Studios. It's a D10 system where you would add an attribute and a skill and roll a d10, or you can just roll a d10 and add a skill, and then sometimes you can add double attributes depending on the system because they have two. Conspiracy X falls under Unisystem Classic when it's just d10 and add what the modifiers are, versus Cinematic, which is Buffy, Angel, Army of Darkness, and there was one more. I can't think of the name offhand, but no, because All Flesh Must Be Eaten was classic system. But anyway, it's a D10 system, and in this system, you have a target number you have to hit, generally to hit, and you roll your D10, adding whatever modifier for skill or attribute, depending what the GM tells you. This book, I like a lot. I like this game a lot. I've only played it a couple times. Mostly, I played it at conventions because it's very hard to find people to play Conspiracy X. Think of an X-Files game. You'd be playing, Mulder or Scully or some type of Men in Black type thing. There was a Men in Black game, yeah, but Conspiracy X would handle that pretty well. And I think a game of Conspiracy X would be a lot of fun. I have the framework on Foundry. I found it by going to the Eden Studios, which is mostly dead community, and found one really cool guy there who made it. And you can go there and do it. I don't know if he wants his name known because I don't think he has permission to do most of it. So I guess he's keeping it on the down low. But you can go there and find him there and ask him if you want to go to edenstudios.net and then hit community. And it's like one of those old pro boards, weird tap talk, whatever, forum. If you have Foundry, of course. If you don't, then don't even bother. You could probably just play on Roll20. It'd be just as easy, or Owlbear or whatever. But I was thinking about playing this game and investigating, which I thought would be kind of interesting, a Bigfoot situation. And I don't know why, but I mean, it came to me. I'm like, that'd be kind of interesting to be, traveling around, trying to figure out if Bigfoot does exist or does not exist. As we know, Bigfoot really does not exist, but it's cool and it's fun to kind of pretend he exists. And if you do some research on Bigfoot, there's a lot of really weird conspiracy theories involving Bigfoot. So I could see applying some of those things. Like, they say there's Bigfoot in Texas, there's Bigfoot in Colorado, there's Bigfoot in Ohio. I mean, Bigfoot travels around a lot. I mean, but you can have your agents that work for the agency going around like Sculder and Mully did, Mulder and Scully did. Did I say that weird? I don't know. Did and try to hunt down a Bigfoot type monster. and you can be kind of like an episode of the old TV show. It's not old, but the TV show Supernatural without all the teen angst and drama that it had in the later seasons. Back in the first season or two, it was more in Monster of the Week and more horror-ish. Then it became a little bleh. So because it went from WB to the CW, and the CW decided it wanted to be the teen drama network. So everything turned into teen dramas there. Ruined a lot of shows, that network. But Conspiracy X. So I'm looking through the book right now. This basically came out around 2006. Yeah. Unisystem copyright 2006. There was a first edition of this game. I've never played it. A lot of people say it's better than this edition, but I don't know about that. I mean, I've never played it, so I don't know, but from what I've read on the first edition system, it's not that great. And this one, I don't know. I'm more used to this system of a D10 system than what they had before. I think it was a D10 system with different. But once Eden Studios started to align themselves kind of with their constant system of the D10 Unisystem, I think everything fell into place with them. All Flesh Must Be Eaten, and there was another one. I can't think of the other game. It was a Planet of the Apes type game where you played it. It wasn't an ape. I think you were a gorilla instead because they didn't want to do copyright. But I can't think of the name offhand. But I never really had it. But I played in, I think, one game of it, and it ended up in disaster because everybody was flinging poo at each other. So, yeah. But, yeah, I think you can definitely do a game here with Conspiracy X talking about hunting down supernaturals or zoo cryptology, things like that, and do, like, the Smoking Man conspiracy with this game. And it's really well written by C.J. Carella, who did a lot of books during this time period of, I would say, late 90s, mid 2000s, around there. His name was on a lot of books, and I think he kind of disappeared from design. I don't know what happened to him, honestly, but I think he did a lot of stuff for Margaret Weiss for the Cortex system, the Cortex Classic system, I think his name is on, which is a really good system as well. Maybe I'll talk about that next time because I really enjoy that system. It's kind of like Savage Worlds, but a lot easier to run than Savage Worlds, and not a lot of rules to it. And it has a generic book, which is cool, and it has a bunch of settings that you can play. I didn't really get into the hack and the plus and the, I don't know, second degree to the third power system that they started doing when someone else took it over. But yeah. So tell me what you think about Conspiracy X, if you've ever played it first or second edition. I'd like to hear your comments on that. We do have voicemail on here for, it's not Anchor, Podcast, Spotify podcast. You can go right to the page, and mine would be directly, let's see, podcasters.spotify.com/pod/show/the-evil-dm, or you can still go to anchor.fm/the-evil-dm, and it redirects you here. And there's an option. As long as you have an account, you can click send voice message, and it'll give you the option to record a voice message, and I can play it on the air and respond to it. And I'm available on almost all platforms, so hopefully everybody is listening where they want to listen. If you're on YouTube, just hit that like and follow button. So it's going to be a little short one today. If you have any questions, ask the DM at theevildm.com is my email address. Again, a short little talking podcast. Like I said, these are only going to be short, 10-minute, 5 to 15 minutes at the most podcasts of me talking and going on about games that I like and things like that. And hopefully you enjoy it. So with that said, I'm going to head out. Keep it original, keep it old school. God bless, and good night, everybody.